Results of SSC and equivalent examinations published. Average pass rate 62.25%. 1,16,676 students get GPA 5. It is not about pass rate or number of GPA 5 achiever. Government focusing on improving the quality of education, says Education Minister. Cabinet gives final approval to the draft of Bank Resolution Amendment Act 2026. Now time to rebuild the state that is fragile in every sector, including education, health and environment. Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs) have an undeniable role in the process of rebuilding the country, says Prime Minister Tariq Rahman. Indian High Commissioner Dinesh Trivedi pays courtesy call on Prime Minister Tariq Rahman. Religious harmony essential along with social and political stability for the country's economic prosperity, says Information and Broadcasting Minister. Party Alliance collects nomination papers from Election Commission for the presidential election. At least 16 Bangladeshis died in a fire at a sofa manufacturing factory in Riyadh of Saudi Arabia. Prime Minister Tariq Rahman expresses deep shock. US now wants to pressure Iran economically rather than pursue war, says Donald Trump. Strait of Hormuz will not be open if the 6 demands not met, says Iran. At least 13 people killed and 75 injured in Russia's Tatarstan region in drone attack by Ukraine. And India's cricket board waiting for its government's decision regarding proposed Bangladesh tour. Assalamu alaikum. This is Shamim Khan, welcoming you all to News at 10. Those were the headlines. We now move on to the news in details. Results of SSC and equivalent examinations have been published simultaneously across the country. This year, average pass rate across 11 education boards, including 9 SSC boards, was 62.25%. The pass rate was 64.05% for SSC, 55.49% for Dakhil, and 58.20% for SSC vocational and Dakhil vocational examinations. This is nearly 6 percentage points lower than last year. A total of 1,16,676 students achieved GPA 5. Although both overall pass rate and number of students achieving GPA 5 declined compared with previous year, the government said its focus is not on pass rates or the number of GPA 5 achievers, rather on improving the quality of education. Meanwhile, authorities said students who fail may apply online for re-scrutiny of the examination scripts from August 11 to 17. Education Minister Dr. A.N.M. Ehsanul Haq Milon formally inaugurated publication of results at the conference room of the Ministry of Education on Monday morning. Prime Minister's Education Advisor Dr. Mehdi Amin, chairpersons of all education boards and ministry officials were present on the occasion. Noting that women's education has undergone a revolution under BNP government, Prime Minister's Education Advisor Dr. Mahdi Amin said that this year too, pass rate and number of female students achieving GPA 5 had increased. He also outlined the government's plans to improve the country's education system. This year's SSC and equivalent examinations began on April the 21st, with more than 18 lakh students taking part. With publication of results today, these young students have taken another step forward on the educational journey. Breaking a 20 years record, SSC examination results were published today in just 82 days. According to the results, girls once again outperformed boys in both pass rate and number of students achieving GPA 5. Parents and students celebrated the success in this important public examination with immense joy, some also sharing the celebrations on social media. However, there were also students who were disappointed with the results or did not achieve the expected grades. They will be able to apply online for re-scrutiny of the results from August 11 to 17. The Cabinet has given final approval to the draft of Bank Resolution Amendment Act 2026. The approval was given in the 16th meeting of the Cabinet at the Secretariat with Prime Minister Tariq Rahman in the chair. Bank Resolution Ordinance 2025 was promulgated with a view to providing timely solutions to risks arising from capital shortfalls, liquidity, crisis, insolvency, or any other threat to the existence of scheduled banks and ensuring financial stability. With a view to transforming the ordinance into an act, it was placed as a bill in the first session of the 13th Jatiya Sanshad and subsequently referred to a parliamentary special committee formed for detailed scrutiny. The committee recommended placing the ordinance in an amended form. In line with the recommendation, some provisions of the ordinance were separated for implementation through rules. Besides considering the government's financial liabilities, the interest of customers and realities of the banking sector, a new Section 18 Core was incorporated into the law and the bill was placed before Parliament. As no individual institution applied in compliance with all the conditions of Section 18A of the Bank Resolution Act 2026, the draft Bank Resolution Amendment Act 2026 was prepared with the objective of repealing the section. Besides, the draft of Visa Policy 2026 and draft of National Human Rights Commission Act 2026 was given both policy and final approval in the meeting. Prime Minister Tariq Rahman said achieving Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs) would require collective efforts from all sections of the society, outlining the government's vision of a democratic state based on free election, rule of law and institutional accountability. The Prime Minister made the remarks while inaugurating national conference titled Navigating 5-Year Strategic Framework for Achieving SDGs Policy, Partnership and Priority 2026. General Economics Division (GED) of Bangladesh Planning Commission and Governance Innovation Unit of Prime Minister's Office jointly organized the national conference at Bangladesh-China Friendship Conference Center today. Prime Minister Tariq Rahman said SDG principle of leaving no one behind is closely aligned with the government's policy of putting Bangladesh first while protecting the interest of people from all sections of the society. Referring to BNP's previous development plans, head of the government said his party's program has also been people-oriented. Prime Minister said more than a decade and a half of fascist rule has left Bangladesh dependent on loans and imports and weakened key sectors including education, healthcare and environment. He said rebuilding the country would require a comprehensive approach with SDGs playing an important role in guiding the process.
আমি আশা করি এসডিজি ভিলেজ বর্তমান সরকারের নির্বাচনী অঙ্গীকারকে একটি আন্তর্জাতিকভাবে স্বীকৃত ডেভেলপমেন্ট মডেল হিসেবে বিশ্বের সামনে তুলে ধরার একটি দৃষ্টান্তমূলক প্ল্যাটফর্ম হিসেবে গড়ে উঠবে। দীর্ঘ 1.5 দশকের বেশি সময় ধরে ফ্যাসিবাদী শোষণ শাসন বাংলাদেশকে একটি ঋণ নির্ভর এবং আমদানি নির্ভর ভঙ্গুর রাষ্ট্রে পরিণত করেছিল। শিক্ষা, স্বাস্থ্য, পরিবেশ সহ সকল ক্ষেত্রে ভঙ্গুর এই রাষ্ট্রটি এবার পুনর্গঠনের পালা। দেশ এবং পুনর্গঠনের এই যাত্রা পথে অবশ্যই এসডিজির গুরুত্বপূর্ণ ভূমিকা অনস্বীকারযোগ্য। কোনো একক মন্ত্রণালয় বা বিভাগের মাধ্যমে এসডিজি বাস্তবায়ন সম্ভব নয়। এর সফল বাস্তবায়নের জন্য প্রয়োজন সরকার, বেসরকারি খাত, উন্নয়ন সহযোগী, এনজিও, সুশীল সমাজ, গণমাধ্যম এবং প্রতিটি নাগরিকের সম্মিলিত সহযোগিতা। আগামী দিনের কর্মপরিকল্পনায় কয়েকটি মৌলিক বিষয়ে সরকারের দৃষ্টিভঙ্গি স্পষ্ট। একটি গণতান্ত্রিক রাষ্ট্র যেখানে থাকবে অবাধ নির্বাচন, আইনের শাসন এবং প্রাতিষ্ঠানিক জবাবদিহিতা। একটি মানবিক রাষ্ট্র যেখানে স্বাস্থ্য, শিক্ষা ও নাগরিক অধিকার হবে সার্বজনীন, এবং একটি কল্যাণ রাষ্ট্র যেখানে প্রতিটি নাগরিকের অর্থনৈতিক সুযোগ ও আন্তঃপ্রজন্ম ন্যায্যতা নিশ্চিত থাকবে।
The event, chaired by Finance and Planning Minister Amir Khusro Mahmood Chaudhry, was addressed by LGRD and Cooperatives Minister Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir, Finance and Planning Advisor Dr. Rashid Al Mahmood Titumir, State Minister of Planning Junaid Abdur Rahim Saki, Planning Secretary SM Shakil Akhtar, UN Resident Coordinator in Bangladesh Carol Flore Smirasniak, Planning Commission member Dr. Manzoor Hussain, and Principal Coordinator for SDGs at the Prime Minister's Office, Professor SM Abdulawal. Earlier, Prime Minister inaugurated 3 pilot Sustainable Development Goal SDG villages as part of government's initiative to localize the SDGs across Bangladesh. The villages are Mithinga Churin Gapte Upuzila of Rangamati, Pankhalin Takup Upuzila of Khulna, and Nafanagar in Bochaganj Upuzila of Dinajpur. Later, a cultural program was organized. Prime Minister Tariq Rahman enjoyed the cultural program while sitting in the audience row. Prime Minister Tariq Rahman urged the country's people to work from their respective positions to materialize the dream of a Bangladesh where people's basic needs and rights are ensured as envisioned by the martyrs of July mass uprising. He made the call while speaking at a ceremony at the Cabinet meeting room of the Secretariat today, where members of the families of Bangladesh Scouts members killed during July mass uprising were honored and provided with financial assistance. The Prime Minister said those who were martyred during July mass uprising wanted to bring a change to the country, a change through which people's basic needs and rights will be established and they could at least live in peace. Addressing Bangladesh Scouts, he urged its members to work for the country and its people and develop a spirit of standing beside people and protecting nature. The Prime Minister also called upon them to inspire others to work for welfare of the people. At the program, 10 families of Bangladesh Scout members killed during July mass uprising were given special honors. Prime Minister Tariq Rahman also handed over checks of financial assistance and medals of honor to the families of the martyrs. Bangladesh Scouts President and Cabinet Secretary Nasim Al-Ghani called for incorporating contributions and sacrifices of those killed during July mass uprising into national curriculum so that their role could be passed on to future generations. Education Minister Dr. A.N.M. Ehsanul Haq Milon, State Minister of Primary and Mass Education Bobby Hajjaj, Prime Minister's Advisor Dr. Mahdi Amin, and family members of July uprising martyrs were present at the event. Prime Minister Tariq Rahman expressed hope that India will expedite the extradition process of ousted Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, who was toppled on August 5 in 2024 following student people uprising. He came up with his hope when Indian High Commissioner in Dhaka, Dinesh Trivedi, called on him at the Prime Minister's Cabinet Division office at the Bangladesh Secretariat today. He said the Prime Minister welcomed the Indian High Commissioner at the outset of the meeting, while Trivedi shared his experiences serving in Dhaka over the past 2 months. Important bilateral issues between Bangladesh and India were discussed at the meeting. Bangladesh expressed expectation that India would expedite the process of extraditing Sheikh Hasina. Bangladesh also reiterated its request to India to return the killers involved in the murder of Shahid Usman Hadi. The Prime Minister stressed the need to create an appropriate environment to further advance bilateral relations between the two countries. Foreign Minister Dr. Khalilur Rahman, Prime Minister's Foreign Affairs Advisor Humayun Kabir and concerned officials were present. Prime Minister Tariq Rahman urged India to expedite the extradition of convicted fugitive ousted Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and suspected killers of Shahid Usman Hadi to Bangladesh. Foreign Minister Dr. Khalilur Rahman disclosed this while briefing journalists at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs after Indian High Commissioner to Bangladesh Dinesh Trivedi paid a courtesy call on Prime Minister at the Secretariat this morning. The Foreign Minister said two sides also stressed the importance of creating an enabling environment conducive to taking Bangladesh-India relations forward. Responding to a question August 5 event in New Delhi involving Sheikh Hasina, Khalilur said Bangladesh had clearly conveyed its position to India and that the Indian authorities had taken Dhaka's concerns seriously. The Foreign Minister said Bangladesh expects all countries to respect the country's entire state structure. The government had yet to take any decision on Prime Minister Tariq Rahman's possible visit to India, he added. Home Minister Salahuddin Ahmed has called for a fresh start in Bangladesh-India relations, saying differences between the two countries can be resolved through mutual cooperation and dialogue based on equality. He made the remarks when Indian High Commissioner to Bangladesh Dinesh Trivedi paid a courtesy call on him at his office at the Bangladesh Secretariat today. Salahuddin Ahmed said there are some differences and issues between the two countries, but these can be resolved through mutual cooperation and dialogue. Both the countries must move forward with friendly relations through discussions based on equality, he added. During the meeting, the two sides held fruitful and positive discussions on bilateral relations and various issues of mutual interest. The Indian High Commission expressed its commitment to further strengthen bilateral ties, saying Bangladesh and India not only share geographical boundaries but also share the dreams of prosperity. Information and Broadcasting Minister Zahiruddin Shapun said that religious harmony along with social and political stability is essential for the country's economic prosperity. He made the remarks as chief guest at a discussion meeting held at Catholic Church in Goronodi Upazila Borishal this noon. Information Minister said that without strengthening the economy, it would not be possible to improve the quality of citizens' lives. He expressed satisfaction that Bangladesh's garment products are exported abroad, generating foreign currency for the country, with the United States being the largest source of foreign currency earnings from this sector. At the discussion meeting, U.S. Ambassador to Bangladesh Brent T. Christensen said he was deeply impressed to be part of the event and described Borishal as a very beautiful place. He said the United States is a friendly country to Bangladesh and expressed his desire to further strengthen relations between the two countries. Earlier, when the U.S. ambassador arrived at the church, he was welcomed with flowers and given warm reception. The 11-party alliance led by Bangladesh Jamaat-e-Islami collected nomination form from the Election Commission office to contest the presidential election. Alliance leaders collected this form today. Later at a press briefing, Jamaat-e-Islami Assistant Secretary General Hamidur Rahman Azad said the form was collected on behalf of the alliance's nominated candidate, Liberal Democratic Party President retired Colonel Oli Ahmed. Earlier on Sunday, a delegation of ruling BNP collected 2 nomination forms from the Election Commission. According to the election schedule, presidential election will be held on 20th August. Nomination papers can be submitted on the 13th August from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. The then General Secretary of Bangladesh Awami League, Obaidul Qadir, instructed then State Minister for Information Muhammad Ali Arafat to shut down television channels that were broadcasting news of attacks on July protesters. Information had been revealed on a call record today at Tribunal 2 presented by prosecution. The audio clip was presented during the arguments for the fourth day today at International Crimes Tribunal ICT-2, headed by Justice Nazrul Islam Chaudhry. Prosecution says 4 TV channels were forced to shut down the transmission by the order of fascist Awami League government. Prosecutors Ghazi M.H. Tamim says the then Awami League government used mass media as a tool to hide the information of July uprising. The testimony of the case of crimes against humanity against Ubaidul Qadir and 7 others ended on 2nd August. At least 16 Bangladeshi nationals died after being burnt in a fire at a sofa factory in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Ministry of Expatriate Welfare and Overseas Employment said that 10 of the victims were from Atrayu Upazila, Naugao, while another 3 were residents of Naldanga Upazila in neighboring Nato district. The accident occurred at the factory yesterday. According to the Bangladesh Embassy in Riyadh, as cited by the Minister of Expatriates Welfare, firefighters involved in the rescue operation reported that 16 people died at the scene in the devastating fire. As the bodies were severely burned, identification has become difficult. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Tariq Rahman expressed deep shock at the deaths of 16 Bangladeshi nationals in a tragic factory fire in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. In a message of condolence today, the Prime Minister expressed his deepest sympathy to the bereaved families and assured them of providing necessary support during this time of irreparable loss and grief. Prime Minister's Press Secretary Saleh Shibli said the Premier is continuously inquiring about development of the incident and bringing the bodies of the victims back home through coordinated efforts of the Ministries of Foreign Affairs and Expatriate Welfare and Overseas Employment and Bangladesh Mission in Riyadh. Besides Expatriates Welfare and Overseas Employment, Minister Ariful Haq Chaudhry also expressed deep shock at the deaths of 16 Bangladeshi nationals in a tragic factory fire in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. In a condolence message, Expatriates Welfare and Overseas Employment Minister said the premature and tragic deaths of Bangladeshi workers employed in Saudi Arabia were deeply heartbreaking. He said their contribution to the country's economy was immense. He expressed profound grief over their sudden deaths and conveyed his deepest condolence to the bereaved family. Expatriates Welfare Minister said officials concerned have been instructed to bring the bodies of the deceased workers back to Bangladesh as soon as possible and ensure all possible government assistance and compensation for their families. Now, international news.